Hey guys, it's Carly. So I'm trying live stream. I had some Harry Potter book mail to open, so I thought it would be fantastic to try live stream and open it. Only I opened it and realized I didn't have it on live. So I'm still going to try it. I wanted to discuss what I just opened because it's really fun. I enjoy the books that I got in. Some of them are harder to find than others, and they're really fun covers. They're a bit different than what you typically see here in the States. And some of them are very country specific if you're doing Harry Potter translations, which I collect. So for those who don't know much about me or know anything about me, I love Harry Potter books, as you can tell behind me. So one of the things I'm trying to do is collect all the different Harry Potter books. I know it sounds like I really probably need to grow up, but I love them. I enjoy them. And moreover, I really enjoy the art. And I get a lot of people who are like, why? But I really enjoy, hi guys, thanks for joining. I really enjoy the different cover art. I really enjoy how different characters have been rendered. And all that kind of stuff. So that's what I do. So that's what's behind me. So anyway, going to the new books that I just got in, I will start actually with this German translation of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, Order of the Phoenix, actually this book is the first edition German, illustrated by Sabine Wilhelm, who illustrated most of the German books. The only books that she really didn't illustrate other than the adult edition German, I believe, are the new 20th anniversary edition, which were illustrated by Jacopo Bruno, and they're simply stunning. You have to go check them out. But so are the first edition German books like this one right here. Hello, thanks for joining. Anyway, this book is actually not, it needs to be cleaned. It's got some, German is a fun language, Tim. This book, it's got some spots on it. It was supposed to be in better condition than it is, but it was $5, so I'm really not going to complain too much. And it's easy. I can just take some Goo Gone and clean it up. It looks, I don't know if you can see the spots, but it looks like Harry has a beard, and he should not. And there's the back side. So I really enjoy it. I'm trying to finish out the first edition German set, and I need 5, 6, and 7, and I'm waiting on 6 and 7 to get here. And as far as like German books go, that particular edition of the German books are fairly easy to find. They're pretty common, which is nice if you're looking for them like I am. And let's see. So this is a Czech translation of Harry Potter, or actually not Harry Potter at all, the Czech translation of the Tales of Beedle the Bard. And one of the things that I accidentally fell into collecting were the Beedle the Bard translations, because some of them have different cover art, but also I like how they're similarly different. Like this one features the standard UK first edition cover art. Fantastic. But it's larger. It's a different size. It's off-shaped, and I like off-sized things apparently. And I think it's fun. I like to study different languages anyway, and I have a master's degree in linguistics, so it makes sense that I would enjoy looking at all the different languages, right? This is a Czech translation of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is actually a second edition. Some people, if you're a collector, they'll call it like the wizard hat, because he's wearing a wizard hat. It's actually the sorting hat. You can see, like, there are the lips. It's talking. This is somewhat harder to find if you're outside of the Czech Republic or Chechnya, but I don't know how common they are there. This came out, I think, 99-ish, 2000, sometime in that route. So they're making a little bit more of them, but the cover art's really fun, isn't it? And it looks like they're in a tent instead of the Great Hall like what you see in the movies. They have like a circus tent thing going on. And Dumbledore here, I think that's McGonagall there, ghosties. Just a very different Great Hall sorting ceremony than what I would have ever envisioned. And this is actually, like I said, the Czech second edition. The first has, instead of a wizard hat, it actually has a top hat that have lips on the top. It looks very different. I would show you, but it's actually way on the other side of my room, so I'm not going to do that now. But, and then the checkbooks also, the earlier edition checkbooks have great internal cover art, which not all of the books feature. So, like map of Hogwarts layout on actually both page downs, front and back. And then they have some fun internal illustrations that you can flip through. They had a lot more, I want to say, in the first edition, but they still kept some. Like, there's an illustration of Hogwarts. There's a letter from Minerva McGonagall. I don't read checks, so I can't tell you what it says. But it's a really fun book all the same, and it's actually in really good condition for being 20-ish years old. And there's also that. So yeah, super fun. I think I'm always super excited to find these. Yeah, this is 2001, so more common or than the first edition for sure. Hello to the people that just joined. I appreciate it. This is a Catalan Chamber of Secrets. It's a first edition, and I really enjoy it. It looks very cartoonish. There's the Ford Anglia, there's Hedwig back there, and Harry and Ron are heading up to Hogwarts because they couldn't get through the barrier of platform 9 3/4 because it was blocked by Dobby. And there's the back. It's kind of plain. But the first edition, you can find these in books 1 through 3. My third book is actually coming from Spain. This came from Spain as well. And it features a hippogriff, a purple background, and it's really interesting. I love the Catalan books, and there's a lot of Catalan Harry Potter books. The most common that you see feature the Bloomsbury children's cover art, but then they also have like deluxe editions. I believe that's only 1 through 3 as well. These are the first editions, and book 1 has 2 different states of the first edition, so that's kind of fun too. I would show you again, but it's all the way across the room. But the first edition, or the first edition of the Catalan first state, has like just a generic wizard. Hello, thanks for joining. It has just a generic wizard that it looks like a Google Images generic wizard for the Catalan, but it's really fun. It's got a purple background with stars. It doesn't look like anything, hello, super fancy, but it's really hard to find. And you can find them mostly in Spain, although my friend in the UK actually finds a whole bunch of them. He's just very good at finding books though. So anyway, that's the Catalan. I'm still waiting on book 3 to get here, so that'll be super fun. And then I just got in the finished books set, or it's not even a box, it's just finished books 1 through 7. And the finished books feature very fun, different cover art. So I really enjoy them. They're very kind of cartoonish, very stylized, like accentuated features. So like big noses, that's got the chessboard piece. The king is actually dressed up. There's our queen over there. And there's the backside with Dumbledore. I love the color palette used. There's no internal illustrations, or I'd show you guys. They're just not there. And I don't believe the finish is featured on any other Potter translation. So if you want this illustration, you have to get it out of Finland. I was super excited. I actually found them on eBay US, and shipping out of Finland for 1 through 7 books is really expensive. That's why I hadn't completed the set. And I found a really nice seller who is willing to help me out. So I was able to get all 1 through 7. And here's book 2. This guy, it's Lockhart for those who know the series, but it reminds me of like a Casanova or a Romeo with the big hat with the plume and the very strange teeth. He's very toothy. Hello, thanks for joining. We're going over my brand new book mail. And they're in the bookstore in the very first Harry Potter or Chamber of Secrets, when Harry first is getting his supplies. What I think is interesting here is that he's holding a Harry Potter book, and it's published by Tammy. Tammy is the publisher of the Finnish books, so I think that's kind of clever that they did that. It is just smashing, as Nigel would say. There's the back side. I believe that's Dobby. He kind of looks a bit odd, but he fits in with the rest of the illustrations here. And then, of course, there's Jenny. And then we have book 3. They're on a hippogriff. It's Harry and Hermione on the hippogriff. And there's Crookshanks on the back. This is probably, of the finish, this is probably my least favorite because the hippogriff is a fairly common, hello, thanks for joining. We're going over my brand new BookMail. And the illustrations, they are cool. I love the finish illustrations. They're probably in the top 10 of my favorite illustrations out of all the different Potter books, although there's so many different ones to choose from. Kind of changes per mood per day. But the finish are always a favorite. And they do have these same illustrations. You can buy them in softcover form. They're a lot smaller. They're kind of pocket sized. They're really precious. And I have a book 1. I bought it by mistake thinking it was a hardcover, and then a softcover arrived and I was like, well, that's weird. And then I kept it because it was precious. And they also have finish available in, I finally made, oh yes, you finally did make it to a live video. And then the finish also is available in softcover, UK, Bloomsbury, adult covers, there's the words. Anyway, book 3. And that is 4. And this is book 4, Goblet of Fire. Now, I really enjoy this cover a lot because there's a lot of different things being pulled in here. We have the dragons from the different tasks. We have the 4 Triwizard Tournament champs. We've got Harry, a very emo looking Crumb, Cedric, and a very upset looking Fleur. We have the Goblet of Fire here. And then in the way background, there's a cemetery. And of course, if you've read the books or seen the movies, you know how important a cemetery is. Let's see. Thank you. Yes, so I will answer that question in a second. Make sure to ask that again. What is that, Crumb? This is Crumb. That is Crumb, that's Fleur, that's Cedric, and that's of course Harry. And Cedric looks a lot different than I envisioned, but also Cedric always kind of just looks like movie Cedric in my head, I guess. So Robert Pattinson, I think, is the guy who played him. And then we have the back cover here. And does anyone know who this figure might be? I don't, although he's holding Tammy Publisher sign. Is that Myrtle? I think that's Myrtle. I think that's Myrtle the Ghost. If so, I really like Jim K's Myrtle better. Okay, yeah, I think that is Moaning Myrtle. I agree with you guys. She was important in the book. And that looks like a ghost. That's a girl, so it's got to be Moaning Myrtle. Just not how I would have pictured her at all. And then we have book 5. And look at Umbridge. The book describes her as being very toady. And she looks very much like a toad here. In fact, it took me a little bit to figure out it was Umbridge when I was first checking out the cover. I knew there was an Umbridge in the story, just I didn't know who that was because it just looks, yeah, it does look like a bullfrog. And then we have some guy falling in the background, but I don't remember that moment, so I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, that is book 5 cover. And the back side is wonderful. I love that. And there's the spine. I love the spines. The spines look like candy to me. And I'll show you all the spines lined up in a minute. I can pick them up and show you because they're really fun. What did you say? Give me a second, Samir. I haven't forgotten your question. I want to get through the finish and then I can tell you about the Bloomsbury. Here's book 6. And Dumbledore. Yes, very crazy covers. Oh, you're fine. Don't be sorry. It's a good question. I'm guessing that's Ginny, the redheaded woman. I'm guessing is Ginny. Hogwarts in the background. There is the Prince's book, and of course it's published by Tammy, who's the publisher of the, what are they called? The Finnish books. There we go. And I love the colors used. I love the color palette of the Finnish books. They're very vibrant. They're very pretty. And there's the back side with the locket. And I just, with RAM, because that's probably what they had to change his initials from, RAB. Probably because black starts with an N. I do like this one too. It may be my favorite Finnish cover, if I'm being honest. And I like how they've aged the illustrations here as they've grown up. So have the illustrations. And we have book 7, which, you know, you can see the stag, which is super integral and super important to book 7. We have Hermione. She looks very adult. Ron. Wand. There's the two-way mirror, I'm guessing. We have the Sword of Gryffindor. Yeah, isn't it really nice? Hello, thanks for joining. I'm just showing off my new Harry Potter book mail. This is the Finnish cover for Deathly Hallows. And I think that's all I recognize in here. But I like how the Finnish, yes. I enjoy when the Golden Trio are featured as well. And then here's the back. I don't know who that is. There's really not a... Yes. I don't... Off the top of my head, I don't know who that character is, other than it kind of looks like a genie. And I don't know who that fits. So if you have any ideas, please let me know, because I don't. So anyway, that's the books in Finnish. Aren't they fantastic? I'll show you their spines now, because they really are fun. And Finland translated somewhat early, I believe. They came in like 2000, 2001, somewhere in there. Maybe even 99. But they translated early. I'm trying to see actually if I can tell when. Yeah, so this was actually translated in 2008. So they translated pretty much right alongside as the books came out, which I think is great. I think it shows the popularity of the books. And they have book club editions available for at least 1 and 4 that feature the U.S. Mary Grand Prix Harry Potter art. So let's look at the spines real fast. Let's see if I can do this and not drop them. And I love how the spines feature like little images from the actual cover itself and all the colors lined up. They look like candy to me. They look like candy for the eyes. And I love it. And some of them, book 5 has a ribbon bookmark. And I don't see, there you go. I don't know if you can tell, but book 5 does have a ribbon bookmark. I'm not making things up. And the others don't, so I'm not sure if it's just because it's such a thick book they added one, or if it is a part of a different set that I don't have. I don't know. But either way, I have a completed set of Finnish now, and I'm super excited. They are somewhat expensive to get out of Finland just because shipping is so high, and the books are hardcover, so the shipping is pricey. It is what it is. And unfortunately, if you collect books from all over the world like I do, it gets expensive. Yeah, it does kind of look like Bloomsbury first at the top of the spine just because of what they've put. Yes, I agree. It is rare to see the pictures on tops of the spine like that. So, Samir, your question was about the Bloomsbury versus the U.S. Goblet of Fire Illustrated. So, the text block is the exact same. There's no difference between the text block of the two books. So if you buy one, you'll be reading the exact same stuff. The difference is really only on the cover. The US features like the Harry Potter Mary Grand Prix font. Let me finish this and then I'll have you ask your question again. But that's really the only difference, is the font on the front cover. Now, what was your question again? if you'll type it again or copy and paste your other one, if you can do that. I don't know. Never done a live video before. This is a first. So thanks for joining me. I'm still learning here, and live videos are very new for me. I have to get used to the idea of them. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people about my books. I think it's fun. Any questions from you guys? Other than, I know Samir's typing his question right now. And I would show you the first edition of this, but I'm not going to get up. Yes, thank you for joining Midnight. And I mean, Bloomsbury Illustrated book. Your question faded, Samir. I don't know how to get them to stay. Like, when you type a question, I see it for just a few seconds and I have to read it really quick. So I read something about Bloomsbury books and then it faded. So I do apologize. You may have to, if there, I don't know, there should be comments here down below. If there, you can always ask me in another venue as well. But I will happily answer it. I wish there was a way to, do you know if there's a way to keep the comments on longer so I can actually, some of the questions are somewhat long. So if Midnight, if you know of a way to keep the comments on longer, the questions longer so I can read them, that'd be cool. I didn't look at any of the settings before I did this. I just did this. Okay. Are the Bloomsbury Illustrated the same as American? Yeah, so it goes back to when you're saying all the books, I guess that's what you meant, all the illustrated books. It's the same text block. It's the same story. So if you buy a Bloomsbury one or a US one, you're getting the exact same words. The only thing that's different is the covers. And it's the same covers. It's just they've used, the US uses the Mary Grand Pré Harry Potter font, is what I call it. And then the UK uses different. There is a deluxe edition. It is, I think on Bloomsbury, I think the deluxe Bloomsbury is something like 125 pounds. I think the US deluxe edition is something like $325. It's really pricey. I only have one illustrated deluxe edition. And it's the Chamber of Secrets because I found it on Amazon for something like $35 during a crash sale. I was very fortunate. Something in my collection that I really want would be a first print hardcover Philosopher's Stone. That's like a holy grail book. And I've seen one, I've got to hold one, and I should have bought one many years ago when I had the opportunity and did not. Because now they have gone up so much in value. You know, I know people who are able to buy you know, well-used, well-loved first print Harry Potter books for, like, first print hardcover Harry Potter books for several $1,000s, but not the $40,000, the $100,000 that we're seeing now. I would love a Philosopher's Stone proof as well. I have all the other Harry Potter proofs, but I don't have the Philosopher's Stone proof because it's so hard to find. Accessing one, finding one is so hard, and if you do, you're looking at about at least $20,000 anymore. More than likely, it's expensive. It's high. There was one that went at auction not too very long ago. Granted, it had the trial jacket with it, but I think it wound up selling for 25, 27, somewhere in there. So it was high. So you'd have to buy a car, basically. Yeah, maybe one day. I will say, I do know of somebody who found a signed Philosopher's Stone proof in a thrift shop or like flea market style thing in the Philippines for something like 50 cents. I don't remember the exact price they paid, but the fact that that can happen just gives me hope because you don't know where you're going to find these things. That's why I go to used bookstores. Isn't it crazy? I go to used bookstores. I shop, you know, at thrift places because some of these rare things are going to wind up in these thrift places, these thrift shops, these, you know, half-price books. Powell's Books are the used bookstores that I frequent a lot here. They're going to wind up there because some people, you know, think about how many people get rid of their books and they don't know that they're rare. It happens all the time. And in fact, I know a collector who collects translations as I do. And he got a really rare, he got a first edition, like first print of the Italian, which is really hard to find. It was on sale for like a week at that. And not many sold. They were pulled off the shelves. They had to go make some corrections to the cover. So it's a very easy find. If you see it, you know what it is. Yeah, that's actually somewhat low for, unless it's a really well-used book. Oh geez. I don't know that I would share anything. Like, I tagged J.K. Rowling in forgeries because I wanted to know it's there. What would I do with my collection and other stuff? I'm sorry, your question faded midnight, so I didn't get to finish reading it. But I have thought about doing like a library tour. I get asked for those quite often to do a library tour. I don't know how to do one well. I've thought about making like a musical one featuring like songs from like The Little Mermaid. But one would have to sing that. Two, I'd have to write the lyrics, and then I'd have to put it to music. And I don't know that I am that crafty. But it'd be fun. Can I scroll and see comments? I can't. Oh, okay. Yes, I can. You're very smart. Thank you. That makes things so much easier. As you get older, what do you think you'll do with your collection? Are you hoping to... I don't have kids, and I'm not super duper motherly, so I don't know that I would have kids to pass it on to. Ultimately, I would love to be a part of a museum. I've wanted to do that since I really started collecting heavily in like 2014 is when I got back really serious with it again. I started in 2009, 10, and then I got out of it for a few years because I moved, changed jobs, you know, life happened. But I don't know. I really get attached to my things. So I don't know that I would just pass it on or sell it either. I have it insured for a decent amount of money. I don't give dollar amounts, but I would say I have some really, really rare things. I have a first print softcover, which has gone up extensively in value because the hardcovers have gotten so hard. And I have that purple signed proof and several other, got 18, 19 signatures in my collection as well. So, and then all the translations. I have about 900-ish books at the moment. What's your favorite thrift shop or regular shops to get books? Hello, Carly. That's a great question. My favorite, I love half-price books, but they don't always have good things. As far as sometimes you go in and it's crap. Sometimes you go in and they have some really cool, like I found a set of UK Harry Potter soft covers there once. It was a few years ago, but I still found it and they were like $3 each. So there's that. It is a lot of books and I'm actually out of shelf space. So one of the reasons I haven't showed you my book room right now is because I need more shelves. Some of the shelves, like you can see the shelves behind me, don't match. And that's basically because I got so many books so fast that I had to buy shelves, and IKEA at the time we didn't have one. So getting matching IKEA shelves was out of the question. So now I just need to like resize and redo, and I'll do that as it goes. What's a find that you just couldn't believe you found? I found some, I've had some really cool finds over the years. I would have to say I found several first print Sorcerer's Stones, hardcover, first print, you know, first edition in Guardian jacket, at library book sales, for $7, $8, $9, $10. And I was able to, you know, do well with those. I don't have the super rare Beetle book. They're not even super rare. There's 100,000 of them. The really pretty Amazon printed Bloomsbury, not Bloomsbury, but Amazon was the maker. They published these books, the collector edition Beetle the Bard books, and there's 100,000 of them that were made. 100 of them were signed by Joe, and they're numbered. And one of my good friends who lives in France, Romain, he was, if you pre-ordered the book, you had the chance of getting one, and he pre-ordered the book and he got one. I forget what number he has, but he got a signed Beetle that way just by pre-ordering the book through Amazon, and I think that is so cool. It's like knowing a lottery winner. And I don't have that one either. That is a, you know, several $1,000 book, and I don't have that. Peter the Potter Collector does. I believe he still has that, and that was a really cool find. I remember when he got it, I was very excited for him, just to know somebody who has that one, right? So cool. But I don't have the collector's edition either, because if I had the collector's edition, I'd want it to be signed. I can't afford the signed one, so I don't have the collector's edition, is how that boiled down. Let's see. And then I found a signed, back to your question, Midnight, I found a 1999 signed Sorcerer's Stone on auction on eBay. The seller didn't want to say it was signed. He didn't list it as signed in the description or in the title of the listing. You had to flip through the pictures. Hi. Oh, that's Sean McAllister. And so I bought it. It was $30 is what it went for auction. Oh, geez. Peter has about 1,500 books. I only have between like 900 and 950. So he's still about 600 more books than I have. I've not counted mine. Last count, I think it was 875. But I should probably recount. I've got in a lot more books now. So I don't know, but his is still bigger. I do, maybe, I think I know where he got his proof from, but I would have to remember the story. But I'm pretty certain I do. And what do you mean by Peter question mark? Oh, I think that was the same question you asked. I did get my finished books. Did you? So Sean here he ordered some German books, the German Rainbow set that I have sitting over there in the corner that you can't see here. He purchased the German set from the same seller I got my finished books from. Did you get yours? Did they come in yet? They're a lovely set, and I will show you guys later. They're really fun. I'm playing with scissors. I'm going to wind up cutting my finger. I'm going to put them down like an adult. Yeah, I think, which book has the most sentimental value to you? Oh, geez. At least they're there. My most sentimental book would probably have to be my purple signed proof. That was the book that made me really feel like I was a real, I wanted to be a serious book collector. But that was the book when I bought it that made me feel like I was one, like I was well on my way to being a serious book collector. When I decided to start collecting Harry Potter books, it was like 2009, and I had no clue what I was doing at all. I just jumped in head first in the deep well and knew nothing whatsoever at all, which I tell people don't do, especially now there's so much fraud. Ask questions first, don't do what I did. You'll overpay, spend way too much money, buy forgeries, make all the mistakes I did. But the book that made me feel like I was well on my way and that I knew what I was doing was that signed purple proof. That is, I don't know that I could ever get rid of that. That is so cool to have and so rare. And I love rare things. I also like the 1998 signed first print Sorcerer's Stone. My very first Harry Potter book was actually a Sorcerer's Stone soft cover. And it turned out to be a first print. I didn't know that. It was a used book. And it's very well used. It's been very well read. I did not take care of it whatsoever at all. But it's still on my shelf over there. I got it probably, I think it may have even been a garage sale, thrift shop, used bookstore. It wasn't at a brand new bookstore. I wasn't going to pay that much for it at the time. I just wanted a set of books to read. my granddad was in the hospital with cancer and having all these different operations, and I needed books to keep me busy. And I'd already seen the movies, I'd even read the books, but I needed my own because I was reading my sister's and she didn't want to share. How do you know what sellers to trust? And did you build it over time and go back to the same people? Yes, I have built this extremely over time. If you're going to do translations, there's 89, 90, depending on how you count them. So they're going to take up space. And then I decided I was going to be crazy and I have some of the Braille books, actually, Alfred. They're way up there. Actually, you can kind of see them there. The blue and the white kind of in the corner. As far as sellers to trust, I feel like at this point I know the market well enough that even if I don't know the seller, it's a calculated risk. So I always chat with like the Ravenclaw Seeker, that's Adam. Peter, I run things by him quite a bit. And I've known Peter, I met Peter on eBay 12 years ago. And Adam I've known since 2017, and we just chat all the time. So, you know, there's that. And Adam I trust, Peter I trust. As far as other sellers, it depends on, you know, what they have. Does their listing ring true? If it seems kind of scammy or if something seems off, you know, I'll run it by, especially with signed things. And even, you know, first print hardcover Harry Potter books, the Philosopher's Stone, those are there's a lot of fraud that goes up there. And that's just one of the downsides of collecting on this level, is there's a lot of fraud, and you have to just you have to scrutinize everything you read. So that's kind of how I learned. And then if it's somebody new, I'll say, you know, Adam, have you bought from this seller? Do you know this seller? Peter, do you know the seller? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, no, and then we move on and go from there. Yes, I love pumpkins. I have to work very hard not to spend my whole bank account on pumpkins at Halloween time, because I really would. I would not pay any bills. I would not make my car payment. I wouldn't make my rent. I would just live in pumpkin world. I love pumpkins. And autographs, I have 18, 19 at this point. And I have the UK Braille books. I have 1 through 5 because that's all we're authorized in UK Braille. And then US Braille, I have 1 and 3. They take up a lot of space. At some point I'll work on getting them, but they take up a lot of space. And they wind up in a closet, which is where most of my UK Braille books are, is they're in a closet. Hello, thank you for joining. And my favorite Halloween movie? Well, I love Hocus Pocus. That's probably my favorite Halloween movie, even though that's not Harry Potter. I love Hocus Pocus. And any other questions? I'm about to have to go because I have to be up early. And I've got to grab something to eat. It seems like it's the same thing from my last live when I was at Orlando. I hadn't eaten all day. And I've got to eat again because I've not eaten all day. But if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask really fast. I love Hocus Pocus. The black books with the owl on them behind me. I don't know. Those? Is that what you're talking about? That I don't see an owl. That's the augury. These? Yeah, these are Russian black books. That's chamber. And they're prettier in photos than in person, in my opinion. They're very rare. Sean knows actually how many of them were made. I don't. 2008. There you go. And I don't remember. They're a very limited set. That's why I only have 4 of them right now. And I'm working on the last 3. So, but you know, I'm over the 50% mark. I will count that as a win. And It is cool. And they're the first translation. There are 2 Russian translations. Those are still by Roseman, which are the first publisher. Yes, I love that movie too. That's just... Uh-oh. I've lost my phone. Okay. I'm back. Yeah. I thought there was a count. I thought it was something like 20,000. Anyway, I've got to go because it is almost my bedtime and I'm about to turn into a pumpkin. But for those who don't know, I am giving away this. This is the exact book I'm giving away. And I'm giving away the Barnes & Noble poster that it came with. And so if you want to enter, make sure to check out my flip through video. It has all the instructions on how to win this really cool book. And I've got several other YouTube giveaways as well. I've got an Amazon gift card and I've got a Hallmark piece that you get to pick out. And they're all in my different videos. Let me see. What was your last question? Let's see. One spell for Harry or on Harry? For him, if I could cast like, yeah. Oh, if I could cast a spell from Harry Potter, probably Accio. That makes things so much easier when like you can Accio things and, you know, Accio remote control. There it goes. So that would probably be the spell I would choose. And if, okay, I've got to wrap it up, but we'll do this again. This was fun. And next time I'll actually make sure my camera is working so I can unbox them and we'll discuss them as I pull them out of the box instead of afterward. That's much more fun. I will sleep well. And if you have any questions about collecting Harry Potter books, don't hesitate to ask. I enjoy chatting about this with just pretty much everybody. And with that, I'm going to say thanks for watching and super happy collecting. It was fun. You too. I don't know how to end this.